I've been in charge of a double project for the last 18 months, a documentary and a book about a collection of video games that you might be familiar with. These. Now, this video and this tune, my God, TOCA Touring Car Championship, does that take you back? For a short while, the greatest console racing game on the planet, where you could throw yourself into battle against the top drivers in the British Touring Car Championship, which at the time in 1997 wasn't that far behind Formula One in popularity stakes in the UK. Jacques Villeneuve took the F1 driver's title in a Williams Renault that season. Alain Menu took the BTCC crown in a Williams Renault. Might have been a Laguna, but was still a Williams. Many believe that this period was peak in the history of the BTCC, partially because of the game, and that the championship right now needs a game to give it a lift. There might be something in that. This isn't a video saying the British Touring Car Championship needs to get on board with the company to make a game. It's the other way around. There's reasons why developers should be lining up and knocking on the British Touring Car Championship's door, actually. I mean, they should be begging to produce a game for the championship. Because with the modern BTCC, we have a motorsport that's crap. That's worthy of being the basis of a game in its own right. Something that a developer, if it wanted an alternative to the F1 games that are churned out every year, would benefit from. Course racing, contact as part of the skill set, classic British circuits and drivers who appear on national TV every couple of weeks, along with recognisable cars. I don't think that there's a better marketing opportunity for any professional championship in racing than having their own game, and I mean own game, not being an add-on or afterthought for another game. Like the current ability to download official BTCC season sets for R Factor 2, where you can't get all of the tracks, but attracting new fans is the lifeblood of motor racing. Go back to those days when TOCA was originally released. The casual fan had loads of official racing titles to choose from, not just F1, NASCAR and MotoGP, Formula Nippon, World Superbikes, V8 Challenge, IndyCar, Le Mans and more. For a period of time in the 90s and 2000s, gamers were surreptitiously schooled in contemporary racing without even knowing it. And we need to bring that back. The documentary we're working on features the additions contained in the British Touring Car Championship, which would be TOCA Touring Cars 1 and 2 for the PlayStation and PC, and TOCA Race Driver for the PlayStation 2 and PC. Now, we've done a lot of research. We've interviewed people, and we have a few more to talk to yet, people who've developed the game and whatnot, from those Codemasters Classics, people involved in the BTCC at the time and such. The upcoming documentary focuses mainly on the development, release and reception of the British Touring Car Championship game. And there are some fantastic stories, some wild ones as well. When I chatted with Jason Plato in 2023 about it, he said, "I bet they programmed me to be a right twat." Well, yes and no. Let's say there was no intention, but certain cars could be exactly that. And as someone who was a Renault fan, always raced as a Renault, I always found the Hondas of Tarquini and Thompson to actually be the twats. In the game, that is. And yes, Plato did inspire one of the developers to go out and buy a yellow Renault Megane Coupe. The upcoming book takes a wider angle and places the game at the centre of a wider cultural phenomenon, because at the time it was a phenomenon where touring car racing broke through the mainstream. And you know what? If we could get that new, built from the ground up game, that kind of mainstream recognition could return, because it's a cornerstone that the championship needs to gain. The recognition that a series that has national TV coverage deserves, and frankly, any developer who jumped in on this would be getting their product in front of a large audience that other racing championships would go nuts for, worldwide. I mean, you can't buy that kind of advertising. I mean, if F1 and NASCAR were free to air around the world, I bet their games would shift more copies than they already do. I mean, yes, there has been a stalled attempt at reigniting with a follow-up. For those who don't know, Motorsport Games and the BTCC signed an agreement in 2022 before the game was cancelled a year later. IndyCar and NASCAR both had deals with the same company, which were also terminated at around the same time. There are plenty of videos on YouTube about Motorsport Games with that stuff if you're interested. We're not going to go on about it here. Like I said, there's been an official release of a few seasons worth of cars into the PC game, R Factor 2. The 21 to 23 seasons. But to be an attractive and viable offering for development, the BTCC needs to be on consoles too. You can't call the original games cult classics. There was nothing cult about them. They were prime mainstream products in their time. The original had a month of glory on the PlayStation before the first Gran Turismo was released, but it shifted 600,000 copies. It won awards and it caught the eye. Dale Earnhardt Jr. played it and loved Brands Hatch. How many current NASCAR superstars even know the BTCC exists, or if they do, what it actually is? It's quite different the other way around. Quite a few BTCC drivers now have an eye on NASCAR as fans, which says something compared to the 890s, when it really was the other way around. And on the Gran Turismo thing, yeah, it had an influence on TOCA too. To those who know, these games still resonate. You know, playthrough videos pop up on YouTube. We've got the ultimate of those coming on a new second channel we'll be announcing soon, and it's slightly different in its format. Fans chat about the game in fan groups, and recently the British Touring Car Championship themselves have returned to the PS1 and PS2 TOCA games across social media by getting current BTCC races to try the games, which is entertaining. And it's also a key point that we'll get to in a moment. Many of the current generation of British touring car drivers played the games, and some were too young to understand the effect that they actually had. But racing sims and games are an important part of racing culture. The two championship contenders from last season have opinions. When I asked Tom Ingram about it, he said he played the games when he was younger and he loved it, along with his 1999 British Touring Car Championship season review video. Ash Sutton, I think as most of you know, is involved in sim racing with his company, Pure Sims, and I've chatted with both about the games. I've asked Ash about it, and he's agreed to appear in the documentary, and he spoke about the R-Factor 2 mod. He spoke last year when asked about it. At the time, he said the only thing it was useful for was experimenting with where to activate hybrid deployment. But as a sim, R-Factor 2 in its BTCC form doesn't really offer anything of use. And it's not the most pick up and play game either. I mean, it is a cracking game, but it doesn't have that catch-all appeal. Now, driver awareness and involvement is important these days. I mean, there wasn't any in the original game. There wasn't much promotion from the drivers who raced at the time. But like I said, changing times. Because the current grid is full of drivers who are game literate, not just with sitting on a sim rig, but many grew up playing Pokemon, love a COD session. They get it. They're inbuilt salespeople. When the first TOCA game came out, it caught the spirit of the TV highlights package, but you need much more than that on modern consoles, and the drivers had next to no involvement in the original development. BTCC videos on the game this year featured Dan Rowbottom, Mikey Doble, Charles Rainford and Darryl DeLeon, and then over the final weekend, a duel between Ash Sutton and Tom Ingram. These have been towards the top of the championship social media output this season in terms of popularity. And this year, the BTCC really has upped its game in quality with socials, but still not picking up at the rate that we'd like to see. IndyCar's been in a similar boat in the years since this beauty was released. And, you know, as a PC game, this is still a hell of a lot of fun. I've been playing it quite a bit recently. And with the announcement that they're finally getting a new game next year, we're expecting a trickle-down effect to build from gamers to IndyCar fans. It was a proven tactic in the 90s and early 2000s. But the cost and complexity of producing a racing game has blew up a lot since then, hence why, at the moment, it's only really F1 who can whack a successful game out every season. A lot has changed. The truth here is that the BTCC races on only 10 layouts across 8 tracks with 20-odd cars, 5 or 6 models to race. Offer people a game with that today and they'll laugh it off. The original game only had 8 cars to choose from and 9 layouts to race on, but this isn't 1997. We're going off on a tangent here with a Touring Car magazine wish list of stuff we'd like to see in a potential game. Remember to like and subscribe. And I want you to drop into the comments below and add your wish list for what you'd like to see in a British Touring Car Championship game. TOCA 2 introduced support championships, so to follow that, the Porsche Carrera Cup and Sprint Series, along with the Minis, and F4 would be a great place to start, but you need more. And that's where retro cars come in. The reality is, though, you can't just say yeah, let's add the 1995 season or the 1988 season, because there's lots of sponsors, lots of licenses, but there's a way around that. The World Touring Car Championship game from 2006 included the 1987 season, but with 2 types of car and only in factory livery. That's pointless. But including a livery editor and cars from the Super Touring or Group E era and letting fans share paint schemes, we would be throwing money at the game. But you'd also need the tracks. Silverstone Grand Prix and International layout would be a decent addition, as would Rockingham, or even the likes of Pembrey in its 1992 form. But throw in the Birmingham Super Prix layout for some 80s goodiness, Crystal Palace for some 70s fun, Goodwood, including the Festival Hill Climb, Mallory Park, Ingliston, or current tracks in their historic layouts, Croft, as it was in the 60s and 70s. Get a grid full of custom minis or Sierra Cosworths, and that game would be minted. And leave the PC version open for modern. I mean, I've rambled a lot, but the takeaway is this: as much as we want the BTCC to get the game out, the games industry needs to be educated that there's life beyond NASCAR and F1 on consoles, and TOCA, as a gaming brand, still carries some weight. Push a new game with nostalgia connect with the originals and you'll have a winner. I'm more than sure of that. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video and you have an interest in touring car racing, give us a like and subscribe. Catch our new series, Touring Car Tea, where we can have a cuppa together. If racing games are your thing, hit subscribe too. We've got a lot more gaming stuff coming and a gaming channel, so keep an eye on that too. And remember, we're a magazine. I think we're sold out to print the latest issue, but digital copies are still available from the link in the description. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. I'm off to race some Super Tourers in Race Room.